Here's the thing. I just want to chill on my computer, race my distro, play some video games, and make videos about Linux online. I don't want to have to talk about politics and online censorship. In fact, I explicitly make it my mission to not talk about politics on this channel unless they are directly related to FOSS. Things like how different licenses work, things like licenses being abused, and other things, CLA, things like that, things directly related to the things I am interested in. But here we are, I guess. Here we are at the precipice of the collapse of the open internet. And you know what? I am not the first person to make this observation, but the anime Shimoneta is very quickly becoming a documentary. It is a prophecy yet to come to pass. We are entering the era of age verification online. We've had a good run for the past 30 or so years. You've been able to access whatever you wanted. If a site wanted to verify your age, just like, yeah, I was born in 1900. Just don't think about it. I'm over the age I need to be. But that's coming to an end soon. Now, for me, I'm over 18, and that part itself, the accessing of the content, that's not a big deal. I am able to do so. The problem is the means of verifying your age. Now, the reasoning being put forth for why this is being done, the way it is being framed, is basically to protect the children from adult content. Now, that is a noble goal. It's a very noble goal. And it's a noble goal that is often abused. Anytime you hear the justification that something is being done to protect the children, it's very likely there is some ulterior motive there. There is something being left out of this discussion, and that's the only thing that they're willing to tell you. And I know a lot of you are old enough to remember, or you might know some people who are a bit older, to remember things like the dangers of rap music and how rap music is going to corrupt the youth and rap music is going to create all of these criminals. Or the fact that Pokemon is satanic. Now that might sound ridiculous today, but this is a real thing that was being talked about back in the 90s. Or you want to go back even further and talk about the hippie movement of the 60s and the drug restrictions that came afterwards. All of these cases have the exact same justification: protecting the children. Every single time, it is the exact same justification to protect the children. And this time, it is about the dangers of the internet. Now, I agree that kids shouldn't be online all the time. Most people shouldn't be online all the time. All of us are probably online way more than is healthy. And there's a lot of things which are entirely legal on the internet, which you shouldn't see, right? Like, you don't need to see war footage every single day. But if you go on Twitter, you can absolutely do so. But fixing this problem isn't a problem for the government. It is not something where you force every single person to age verify and then that protects the children from the content. The way you solve this is better parenting. You teach parents how the internet works, how to monitor their kids online, and then get the parents to parent. Don't outsource your parenting to the government. So this first kicked off with the UK and the Online Safety Act. This is requiring sites that host material like pornography, self-harm, things like that, to verify the age of the user. Now, this can be done through a number of means. Either a facial scan, otherwise known as a selfie, a photo ID, or a credit card. And different sites are taking vastly different approaches to how they want to infer these rules, how they want to verify users. Some of them, like Newgrounds, are actually doing so in a pretty reasonable way. For them, because they don't want to have to deal with your ID, they're going to try to infer your age based on characteristics of your account. If you've had your account for more than 18 years, you're probably over the age of 18. There's very few people who are going to be under that age because, you know, they've done like account sharing, things like that. Most people, if your account age is older than that, you're probably over 18. If you've bought supporter status with a credit card, you're probably over the age of 18 as well, and various other little things so they can avoid having to deal with that problem. But other sites are taking different routes for it. And on Twitter, for example, it's starting to look a little bit like this if you don't do the verification. Due to local laws, we are temporarily restricting access to this content until X estimates your age. And how are they estimating your age? Well, as I said, selfies, ID, credit card, things of that nature. Now, here's the fun thing. You are never ever going to stop people accessing content online. With things like the Texas porn ban, well, you had a massive spike in VPN usage. But, gamers are a little bit smarter than just using VPNs. So, Discord is one of those platforms that started integrating the selfie ID checking, and then if the selfie fails or they think you're younger than 18, you're gonna have to do the ID. Well, how can you look older than 18? Well, modern video games look really good. And Death Stranding uses Norman Reedus, and Norman Reedus is well over the age of 18. So there were people actually using the photo mode in this game as a way to circumvent the ID check. I think the one far, far funnier than this is there were people using Gary's mod. And, Gary's mod isn't exactly the best of looking games. And at least at the time, it was still working. So, it's not exactly amazing at verifying your age through this system. Now, of course, surprising absolutely no one ever, it didn't actually stop at adult content, and, well, platforms like Spotify are also being affected by this as well. And yeah, you're having to age verify to listen to music, which you can just walk into a store that sells CDs. Those still exist, by the way. They're not common, but they do exist. But you can just walk into a store and just buy a CD and just listen to that because they are allowed to sell it to you. And don't you worry, because Wikipedia is also on the chopping block. Now, this would not be the first time the UK government has come after Wikipedia. If you go to the Wikipedia page on government censorship, they are listed there. My country as well, but the UK we're talking about right now. We'll get to Australia very shortly. Don't you worry about that. Now, surprising literally no one ever, when this started happening, Proton VPN, very likely other VPN providers as well, had a massive spike up in signups from UK users. Now, we are missing an axis here, so we don't know exactly how many that would be. They claim it is 1,400%, which is considerably higher than other countries which have also implemented mechanisms like this. So, yeah, people are going to try to circumvent these issues using VPNs. That gives us phenomenal clips, like this one right here. Just so we are clear, this is not AI. This is actually a real person saying this.
For everybody who's out there thinking of using VPNs, let me just say to you directly, verifying your age keeps a child safe, keeps children safe in our country. So let's just not try and find a way around. Just prove your age, make the internet safer for children, make it a better experience for everyone. That's surely what we should aspire to in this country. And for everybody who's out there...
Yes, me verifying my age, some random 50-year-old plumber verifying his age, that's what's going to keep the kids safe. Not the kids verifying their age and not accessing the content they're not supposed to access, but all of the adults who are supposed to be allowed to access the content. That's what's going to protect them. Now, following all this happening, there have been some reports of VPN sites being DNS blocked by certain ISPs within the UK. I have not been able to substantiate any of these claims, but it is something a lot of people have been saying. Now, of course, YouTube is also part of the conversation here and is one of those sites that is requiring ID verification. And would you be surprised whatsoever that they are doing some VPN detection? Now, this is not that crazy to do. Platforms like Netflix do it and other platforms like that, but they do it to make sure you're not circumventing, like, regional licensing. I think that is dumb as well, but here we have YouTube doing it to make sure that you are verifying your age. Now, a lot of VPNs are still working because VPN detection basically works by knowing the IP range that the VPN accesses from and then blocking that range effectively. So if your VPN is smaller, if it's not really that known about, or it has some IPs that maybe haven't been blocked yet, then that's still going to be able to access the service. But it is the direction we are moving. Now, don't you worry, because the UK is not the only one that gets to have some fun. Because down here in the land down under, you may have heard about the under 16 social media ban that's coming in as of December 10th now. It's been pushed back a number of times. Various people in the Senate have been like, yo, this is like a massive overreach. What are you doing? And then eventually we're in the position now where it's most likely going to be implemented. Would you be surprised to know it's going to work in basically the same way that it's happening in the UK? Now, I do not want to hear the opinion of a 16-year-old as much as the next person. I agree, I don't care what your opinion is. But at the cost of destroying online privacy, I don't think that's worth it. And the fun part is it's not just about privacy, because we are creating the age of government-endorsed identity theft. So it is now going to become normal for websites to ask for your ID. Now, if you're like me, if you're most of the people watching this channel, you probably know not to give your ID to random websites out there, and you were probably told, don't just upload things to sites randomly. That's good advice for the internet, and it's good advice that should still hold. However, now that you're having actual websites being told by the government, hey, you're gonna ID people, you're gonna have the less than above board websites also copying the same thing. You are going to have pop-ups that look like Microsoft pop-ups and Google pop-ups, now not just asking for your login, but asking for your credit card and your ID and other things that are totally valid ways to ID a user in these systems. And if you have older family members, if you have less techie family members who don't really know what they're doing online, please make sure they're aware of what is happening. Make sure they don't go and put their ID into random websites and don't have all their money stolen. Don't have their identity stolen, because that's the direction we're going, and it's government endorsed. Good job, guys. You didn't think this one through very well, did ya? Even without this, we are already seeing non-techie people being tricked by AI images and video. Do you actually think that people who are getting tricked by that are not also going to get tricked by a website that looks like YouTube or looks like Facebook or anything else that is asking for your ID that's not that website but still asking for your ID? It's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a big story, and hopefully enough cases of that can make some positive change. I don't have much hope, but maybe it'll happen. And of course, in Australia, it's not just about social media, search engines, AI chatbots, app stores. All of these are subject to the bill. So that's great. And this was being introduced by the eSafety Office, and local senators wanted to have an inquiry into this office and, make sure this doesn't happen, because the leader of the office is not actually voted in. So this is a government department where you have unelected leadership who is trying to implement ID verification. And this was blocked 34-27. So yeah, that didn't go too well. So the unelected leader of the government office is being protected by other members who are, I guess, in favor of this being pushed. And judging by what they've been saying on the news, yeah, that seems to be very much the opinion they hold. And hey, don't you worry, I'm not leaving you guys out. if you're in the United States of America, you also get to join in on the fun. In the US, YouTube will start beginning to use AI to verify a user's age. Now that's fine. The problem is it's gonna do it based on the kind of content you watch, your watch habits and search habits and things like that. So if you're the kind of person who likes to watch, I don't know, Minecraft content and you're 37, well, now you're 7. So enjoy that. And you know how you correct it if it guesses your age wrong? Well, the same way as the other systems, and it already thinks you're under the age of 18, so get ready to share your ID. Yay. So if you wanted to know you're over 18, I don't know, start listening to a lot of Jimmy Barnes, watching Susie Quattro concerts, and looking up stretches for 50-year-olds, and hopefully it pushes your age a little bit further back, but it's probably not going to happen because YouTube and AI auto-flagging systems don't tend to go super well on this platform, and yeah, we're already seeing what happened with Discord and Norman Reedus, so expect some incorrect guesses. And don't you worry, it's not just coming from private companies like YouTube. You guys also have the Kids Online Safety Act and the Screen Act in progress as well, which are basically the same things happening in Australia and the UK. So, yeah, good luck with that one. And have you noticed something very important here? This isn't a left or a right-wing thing. You have left and right-wing governments implementing the same things. This isn't a woke or a base thing. Do not be gaslit into thinking that this is an important distinction. It's not, it's never been, and people have been tricked into thinking it is for a really long time, and the reason you're tricked into thinking it is if you realize that you're actually very similar and you have very similar goals, just different ways to get there, then you can coordinate. Because what this actually is people that want to just live their lives versus people who want to control you and control what you consume. Now, maybe I need to get the tinfoil hat back out because we're going to get a bit conspiracy-y. Not a word, but we're going to run with it. At the same time as this going on, we have the situation with Visa and MasterCard coming after game stores like Steam and itch.io, forcing them to pull down many of their adult titles on their store. Now, you might call these games Gooner slop, and you're probably right. At the same time, though, these are games that are legal to sell, and if you have a payment processor that is making judgments on payments for legal material, you have a fundamentally broken system. The job of a payment processor is to facilitate me giving a store money. The problem we have is there's basically no ability for real competition in this space. Yes, there are other payment processors that exist, but the majority of the market is Visa, MasterCard, and PayPal is basically doing the exact same stuff as well. And Japan was the canary in the coal mine. They have been fighting this issue for a very long time. They have a massive media industry that these companies do not like. Now, the nice thing for Japan is they have local payment processors who like to make money, so they have less of an issue. But Japan is expanding quite a bit into external markets and kind of need Visa and MasterCard to keep being able to sell that material in markets outside of Japan. And then, of course, companies like MasterCard came out to say, well, no, this didn't actually happen, clarifying recent headlines on gaming content. We don't make any rules about what you can and can't buy with our platform, we just hold up the law. We only make sure that lawful content is being sold, which is not at all what Valve or itch.io is saying about what they were told by the payment processors when they were forced to make these changes. Now, just as a bit of a brief background, this campaign was started by an Australian group called Collective Shout, and previously they've gone after games like Grand Theft Auto, I believe it was with the release of 5, where they didn't want to be sold in Australian stores, and they did successfully get it pulled from shelves in a couple of them. It was still widely sold, and in the main game stores, it was still being sold, but they did successfully do a little bit of damage there. So if you think this is just gonna stop with the Gooner Slop games, after everything you've already seen, I don't know why you'd still be that delusional. And maybe the timing is just a coincidence, but it feels like this is happening way too close to all of the ID-related stuff and feels way too related. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Feel free to cook me down below. But, yeah. Let me know your thoughts about everything going on. Are you in a country where this is not happening? Because there are other countries where this is happening as well, or has happened in the past. Let me know your thoughts, because I don't know, man. Like, the internet, we had a good run. We had a really good run. And, yeah, maybe we need to go touch some grass. You know what? There's the real tinfoil hat conspiracy. Maybe all of this is being done to get people back outside to, like, go meet people, go touch grass, and do all of that good stuff. I don't think that's what's actually happening, but maybe. So, let me know your thoughts down below. If you liked the video, go like the video. This is not what we normally do here. I'm not going to start normally doing this here. At least I don't want to. I want to talk about Linux stuff. So, yeah, don't expect to see videos like this. But, as sometimes they'll happen, and sometimes there'll be other rants. So, go subscribe as well. If you really like the video and you want to become one of these amazing people over here, check out the Patreon, subscribe to Daily Bearer Pay, linked in the description down below. That's gonna be it for me, and I don't want to talk about this.